Good. I will gavel us to order here. This is the March 13th, 2024 Historic Preservation Commission meeting. Can we get a call to order and roll call, please?
Yes, this is calling to order the Wednesday, March 13th Historic Preservation Commission regular meeting. And for roll call, Member Church.
Here.
Member Liebold is not here. Member McGuire.
Here.
Member Minor.
Here.
Member Nickel is absent, and Chair Bergman.
I am here.
All right, we have a quorum.
We have a quorum, so we can do some business. First order of business is a consideration of the regular meeting minutes. All of you have your pink sheets here. I hope some of you took some time to read them. Any changes or alterations?
I was not there, so I can't comment.
Okay.
I had no changes. I read
I
through it.
looked through them. They all seem to be fine and in order. Can I get a motion to accept them?
I move.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that carries. Good. The next item on our agenda is to ask if there are any visitors who would like to make a public comment on any non-agenda items. Do we have anybody tuned in on the Zoom?
Let me double check. We do not.
We do not. And so I don't think we have any other comments here, so we can pass on that item. And that brings us to item 4 on the list, our demolition review for 28 Oak Terrace.
Yeah, and I can give just a brief overview, and then we can invite the applicant up. But just for, to explain the situation, for background, this property owner took out a permit to recover their roof, and they left it exposed for a few days in which it rained and water got inside, so the owner had certain wet materials, including drywall and insulation, removed. And so as a result of that, it's considered a demolition per our code definition. However, the majority of or a large portion of the structure and the structural elements are remaining. So it's not the traditional demolition in that sense. I just wanted to clarify that. And if the owners would like to continue on.
So if you'd like to come up to the, we have Deborah Kirsch and Eric Wish.
Yeah, and they
I hope I'm pronouncing those correctly.
They
So,
provided a presentation as well, so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Would you please tell us about the house?
Yep, I wrote up a little kind of script
Great.
that I
We
will
like
read to you
that.
guys.
We like that. Well, that's great.
Hi, I'm Eric Wish, and this is Deborah Kirsch. We're the owners of 28 Oak Terrace. We truly love Lake Bluff and Lake Forest historic architecture. We were actively searching for a ranch home for Deborah's parents to have them close to us, and immediately fell in love with 28 Oak Terrace when we saw it come up on the market. This house is a perfect fit for our family. This home was left vacant for a few years, and also the entire lot was not really maintained so much, so the property is kind of in rough shape, which we intend to change, obviously. Our intention is to completely renovate the home within the existing footprint and low-profile height, as you can see. We're also proposing to add a detached garage nestled among the mature trees, which there are a lot of. We want to maintain the natural feel of the home, but bring it back to life. We spent a lot of time with our arborist, Bruce Horrigan, and civil engineer Mike Bleck to work out the best plan to maintain the property and viable mature trees. We're proposing the following site plan, which will fit within the zoning setbacks, which is a little further down the line. The home was originally kind of waterlogged, so the existing wood windows and siding need to be replaced, but this gives us opportunity to insulate it and make the home energy efficient. We also want to enhance the home's modern architecture with new large windows and new siding. The new detached garage will eliminate the current stubby driveway that you can see in the front. which the current driveway crowds the sidewalk, and it's a bit dangerous. Our cars are unable to pull into the driveway without protruding into the sidewalk. And it's a well-traveled block for our neighbors and pets heading to that recreational path. The days I was there, I would say upwards of 30 to 40 dogs and people walk right in front of our house. So they were, talk to everybody in the neighborhood and got a feel for what they were looking to, happy they were, might see the place get fixed up. We have gone back and forth with some window and siding options. We feel both could work well, or we're leaning towards a simple large window with vertical siding. It's kind of a last minute change earlier this week, Deborah. Our intention is to have the home be enveloped by the landscape and have a natural feel, with all the trees. And so we appreciate the opportunity to come before you. Oak Terrace is a special block in Lake Bluff, and we're dedicated to this home.
So the space that's currently the garage will get set back a little bit and then become living space, and then a second garage will be added?
Yeah, so we were thinking, storage is kind of an issue for this house, so we were gonna make it storage or possibly a little office, but we would take the driveway out and then just put bushes or landscaping. Because right now, when you pull, my car, when you pull it in, and hers, I don't fit. It's actually on the sidewalk. I don't know the exact measurement, but less than 22 feet, because, so immediately when we saw that, we kind of thought, okay, it'd be nice to, add storage to the house, because there's kind of, very little with the floor plan we got, and we want to put to the garage, next to the house in kind of set in those trees. So we would drive in and, have no issues with the driveway. There's also some water remediation issues that I've spoken to Mr. Croak about that we're going to rectify and kind of help out our neighbors. There's been some issues with our property just throwing all the water to a garage and our neighbors. So that was one of the first things I said. I'm a team player and I want to rectify that. There's a lot of cleanup and water remediation.
Okay.
So that's kind of our inspiration. We want the home, kind of want to keep it in its environment. It's a kind of a shorter house. It's got a low pitch roof, and just kind of nestled in there's a lot of trees on this property, and it's a really neat, kind of a lot of trees, and it's really neat, kind of just place to sleep amongst the trees, I guess. It's really neat, though.
I went and visited your property this afternoon and parked my car in your driveway and walked around the house. I didn't notice that my Chevy Blazer had any problem parking in your driveway, so
I have a pickup. Me and Deborah are also fixing up a house on Washington Road, 420 Washington Road in Lake Forest, and yeah, and her father has a pickup as well. Okay. And not that we couldn't put a smaller car there, but it is kind of rough to make that. If I was the first garage, you kind of gotta go around those two trees that kind of hit the side. It cuts off the driveway. But I don't have the longest pickup, but I have that the cab in the back. It's the smaller cab, okay. And the larger cab. And I got a 6.5 foot bed, so for drywall and materials. So kind of my.
Are you a contractor?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Hinsdale and Clarendon Hills area. My father's a builder. Okay. So I grew up doing it with him, and went to college and did IT most of my life, and now I just left IBJI. I work for them. I was IT manager for them for 12 years. And
Illinois Board and Joint?
Correct, yes.
Oh, God, do I know them? Okay.
So do I. Still wake up in cold sweat sometimes. Very, very busy place. When I started, they were still paper charts. So the reason I came in was to, set up an EMR, everything electronic. And And, you know, I did that, and it was time to move on, and I just kind of want to, I love Lake Forest and Lake Bluff. I just love this area. It's kind of like Hinsdale, but you got a lake, and it's better. And she took me to, I think there was an Adler showing, you know, where they do different, show house, they do different rooms, and just driving down the street, I was like, we got to get up here some way. She's from Park Ridge, so we had lived in Park Ridge for the last 14 years, and just every weekend, every other weekend, good 3 years, we just looked at every house that was for sale and finally found a couple. And Mrs. Kirsch and Mr. Kirsch, Deborah's parents, who live in Park Ridge as well, you know, getting older, and we want them to be by us. And her mom has Parkinson's, so a ranch was definitely in the in our hunt, and yeah, we found it. We think. We hope you guys think so too.
I live in a 1954 ranch myself, so I
Perfection,
very much
yeah.
understand that. Our size, your house and my house are going to become absolute jewels as the baby boomers, as all of us baby boomers fully mature.
Well, you know, 3 knee surgeries later, the house on Washington Road, I'm kind of like, maybe we can find a ranch and, you know, move on to that. I don't like stairs as much as I used to. I just had knee surgery 2 months ago, so I'm kind of tired of stairs anyway.
You understand that?
I've been looking at these new elevators they've been doing that are like, you know, a lot easier than regular elevators. They're done by air. I'm like, that would be great. They only take 3 foot by 3 foot, so you just sit in a tube and. So I'm starting to think, yeah,
Beat you up.
I may not have to do stairs much longer.
So, I'm interested, where's the driveway gonna be for the new garage? I couldn't,
Yeah, can we go back to the site?
Yeah, so this is a new site plan. You see the house there.
Yeah,
where
it
the
looks like it's a
garage-
little cut off to the right.
So the house is to the right, the driveway is coming through.
Oh, okay, so there will be space
so the
between
house-
the driveway
There's a
and the...
proposed detached garage.
So the house that you're showing here is actually longer
Yeah.
than the drawing shows.
Okay.
been cut
and
off.
That makes
And-
more sense.
Yeah,
But
that's what I
you're
couldn't
gonna
figure
keep
out.
the protrusion where the existing garage is.
Yeah, there
So,
wouldn't be any change to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
footprint of the existing house.
cause right now
So
it
you're
looks
not
like it
knocking
got,
down any walls or anything?
No.
Exterior walls, right?
Is all we would do is take the 2 garage doors out, frame them in,
And put
make it
windows
maybe
or
a side door, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, no, nothing changing on the existing house.
Okay.
No, we love it. Oh, you know what? Actually, one thing. The front door, we would bring forward. Well, there's 2 front doors. It's kind of confusing. If you look at the original picture, there's a door to the right and a door to the left. And the door to the left, so there you go. So you see the little white door on the right?
Oh, yeah.
We would put a window there because that would be like kind of the way to get into the new storage area / office, not sure yet. No bathrooms or anything, just a, you know, storage office kind of situation. And then that door between the 2 windows on the left, we would bring that forward so it would be flush with the siding, and that would be the new front door.
Okay.
But, you know, theoretically, that is a little change to the existing footprint, but is about as little as we could do. We love it the way it is. It kind of, it's pretty neat. It's got, you know, I actually, when I did the roof, I did tongue and groove, 2x6, 2x6 tongue and groove for the ceiling. So it's kind of like a church, you know? And I want to keep it, I guess you would consider it still vaulted, but it's 10.6, 10.9, something like that, to the ridge beam. It starts out about 8 feet, and then, you know, you know, kind of added something neat, and then put the roof on top. It did closed foam.
I was just gonna ask, did you, I have spent some time in your house.
Yeah.
I've had, some friends of mine lived in the house, so I've been there a number of times.
Okay.
Over the years. And one of my questions was, are you insulating that ceiling up there? Because I have the feeling that that's pretty thin to begin with.
Yeah, so what we did was took off the roof. It was that old, it's like 2 layers, 3/4 inch, like almost particle board, but it's like, you know,
Sponge.
yeah, well, yeah, it's a sponge of water. but, and it degraded over time, and it was pretty bad.
Celotex.
Yeah, but what we did was right on the rafters, we did 2x6 tongue and groove so you can see it from inside. Then we did sleepers, 2x6s, and then we closed foamed that, and then we put the roof over that. So we actually already insulated it. But obviously we have to insulate, we would foam the entire exterior walls of the house with foam as well. It's probably your, you get the best R value out of that when you're,
Yeah. One of the things that intrigues me about the house is it fits into that very nice 1950s mid-century modern groove. This would be called a California-style mid-century modern with the redwood beams in it and the horizontal siding and whatnot, and the very low-pitched roof.
yeah.
The very low-pitched roofs are very difficult in the Midwest because we have snow and ice dams.
Right.
And so that's always been the problem. If you have a house that survives well and doesn't develop roof leaks every third or fourth year, then you do okay.
Right.
This house seems to have survived that.
Yes.
I had in-laws whose house did not survive that, and so they had constant problems. But I very much like the aspect of this house, and I love the fact that you're not gonna take it down and not do terribly too much to alter the face of it.
Yeah, no, we love it too. And, I keep saying this, it's not necessarily that, not an architect, but it's kind of like it's almost like a Frank Lloyd Wright wannabe kind of house sitting in its environment. And that's what we want. You see all the trees we have.
Yeah, he's got a lot of trees.
Absolutely,
It's very much in the
absolutely.
groove.
And the horizontality of it, I would really encourage you to do with the horizontal siding to emphasize that,
The horizontal siding and the ribbon windows are very much in the Frank Lloyd Wright
Absolutely,
style. And
absolutely.
this is when the Frank Lloyd Wright let me explain. I'm in a Master's of Historic Architecture Preservation program. So if I get a little long-winded, it's, my head is full of this. The ribbon windows, where you have all of the double-hung windows all hooked together in a row, and the horizontal siding is very much a part of the Frank Lloyd Wright thinking that has now worked its way all the way down to mid-America housing. One of the things that makes Wright so influential is that he's able to push all of this, and instead of being the intellect up there in the pie in the sky, he actually affects modern-day housing, and this is a really good example of it. To echo what Janie Jirch was starting to say, your house is sited in redwood siding, okay? Redwood siding was very popular and very available in the mid-1950s. It's no longer available.
Right.
And it's now quite valuable.
Yeah.
If you're going to remodel a house, and I walked all the way around your house, the siding is in really very good shape. It needs to be cleaned, it needs to be restained, not painted, but stained.
Yeah.
You can stain it in various colors, but it needs to be stained. I would urge you to consider keeping the siding because it's very valuable.
Yeah.
I will make you a counter offer. If you're gonna tear it off, my house is sided in redwood siding. I will
You'll
come and,
take it.
I'll come and harvest that.
Yeah, it's very expensive back, when it was available. But when you say California, I went to college there, and some of the old Newport side, side of town, there's 100 homes that are very similar to this that just I always loved. They're just I like how they don't have the trees we do, but I just like how it's the landscape, the environment that the home fits in is just. It's right. It may not fit so well if there were no trees, but since there are so many trees, it's like it's meant to be there. So, we would never think of tearing it down.
The juxtaposition that you get between the horizontal fact that you have a very heavy fascia line at the roof, and then the horizontal siding, and then the strip ribbon windows, all forms this very linear, very flat effect. And when you intersperse that, this photograph shows it beautifully, when you intersperse that with all the very tall oak trees, you end up with this wonderful geometric pattern to the whole aspect of the house. That's what makes it look cool.
Yeah.
That's what,
And we actually kept the gutters originally were in soffit gutters. We kept that as well. They were all rotted out and had to fix them up a little bit, but we had to do it because it was part of the roof essentially because it's in the soffit, and, yeah, so we redid it like it was. We didn't use the steel that kind of degrades over time. That's not a good way of doing the gutter, but, yeah, so that fascia, is we're not done, we only did the roofs, we couldn't go further, so, yeah, but by the time we're done, we will, have that nice flat fascia. It's kind of two pieces, because it's about 16, 17 inches. And then you'll notice that it was painted. I just wanted to see what that color would look like. That's not gonna be the color, but it was it's kind of a primer to do to the wood, so it would protect it until,
One of the things that's interesting about the fascia is that it is done in two planks. So you have a wider plank on top, and then about 1.5 inch, 2 inch gap, and then a lower plank.
Right.
That gap reinforces that sense of horizontality, and that's part of that little detail kind of thing that Frank Lloyd Wright was trying to bring.
he's brought it out of me too.
Yeah, so you're gonna be sure to get yourself a nice, powerful, gas-fired, in this town, that time of year, gas-fired leaf blower, because you're gonna walk around that roof twice a year, once in the
I know.
spring,
Yep.
2 or 3 times in the fall to blow out all those gutters.
I actually, it's based on Sears, the amount of air that, and I got the best on the market at the time, 720, and it's one of my favorite toys. The backpack one, and
So, I am very pleased that you're not gonna tear the house down.
As am I.
And I think all of us are very, very pleased to hear that. We're hoping that it will retain a great many of its current attributes. We like the horizontality. The verticality is something that seems popular, but that house was designed, if you go and get yourself a half a dozen Better Homes and Gardens from 1955, you'll see
You'll
that
see
house
that
on
house.
about every other page.
Yeah.
And it all has that very strong sense of linear composition. I am a little concerned about where the garage is gonna go and how that's gonna work out. Are you putting in 2-car, 2.5-car, 2.5-car, double deep? I mean, how big is that garage?
yeah, we got a picture of it, single first, and then a 2-car garage, a single 2-car garage second. Do we have the elevation of the proposed plans? Yep.
So it's a 3-car
The
garage.
next,
Right, next one.
yeah, that one right there. So that's facing that house from, that's the south side of the house. It would, face that.
You're gonna build a little courtyard, right?
courtyard.
Correct.
Right?
So the house we did in Washington, 420, was a historical home. It's in Brownsville, 6 houses, all done the same. And it just really felt right to do that auto court, whatever, I don't know the correct terminology, but detached. And, we got a little pushback with detached, but it just kind of felt right with the trees again on Washington, which then felt right with this property as well. And there's not a lot of backyard space, so that kind of gives you the, we have a mudroom, I guess you'd call it, and it goes out, and we have a bedroom right there. So we kind of thought it would be a nice little hangout area, maybe, and I'm a kind of a hangout kind of guy in the garage and not in the, so.
Same with my dad.
Yeah, and of course, Mr. Gray, he's the one who's getting the house, so I should, but I'm gonna be there probably.
He is a car guy, so
Okay.
there's just,
There's a new car every few months.
Instead of having cars packed in the driveway, this will allow him to put them away. It makes it nice that when we do come over, we can pull in, and it's just more of a family, you can have family come over. And it feels right instead of us all being packed into the small driveway.
And we felt it would, to keep it like the house, that's why we're doing a small pitch roof. And just it'll look like another part of the house, but with that middle section of, maybe gravel drive, not sure, but kind of like that. I don't know if earthy is the right way, but just,
Would you consider matching the roof line to the garage as you have on the house? So you
we
have a
actually did.
double
It's
plane.
but being that it's a like a 212 with the center, we just thought being that the height of the house was like this, that we kind of keep it drifting to Sheridan and get smaller and lower, I guess. So that top left is kind of the look from Oak Terrace. That then you put the house next to it, which the garage can kind of mimic the house, and it just kind of flows through the trees and, you know.
We pulled the original, well, we found the original listing of the house at the Historical Center. And then we got, there was remodeling plans done in the 90s. And it was actually a detached garage at one point. And it didn't appear to us to mimic the house itself. It was like a courtyard, a breezeway of some sort. And then a single long garage.
Yeah.
That wasn't,
And they put an addition as well on the garage side, current existing garage side.
yeah,
So you mean on what would be the north side of the existing house?
Correct. They did the addition that side.
they
I
joined.
think they
yeah.
added that second car garage, and then they did probably that family room that's currently in there with that, it's kind of like a little bump out in that back corner. I think they, put an office in there, we saw.
So before it was changed, it was almost like a mini courtyard on the other side of the house where it was not a detached garage. It seemed to have maybe a covered walkway and then a long garage that was maybe almost a tandem garage.
Okay, possibly.
From what we could tell, it didn't seem to have the same, it had the same pitch of the roof, but I don't know if it followed the same architecture.
Yeah, and it's about a 2.5 to 2.5 12 roof, so it is a very
Very slow.
difficult roof to,
Very
kinda-
slow, yeah.
To try to match,
So
but we're unsure.
Okay. It seems to me that if you're gonna put, so, one of the things I like about your property is that you have this little patch of woods.
Yeah.
That is on Oak Terrace on one side and Sheridan Road on the other side. And that little patch of woods helps keep Sheridan Road in that sort of still woodsy environment of.
I agree with that.
That was.
Yeah, I agree with
still-
that. So, where the garage would sit, there's 12 trees that are dead. I don't know if you saw them.
Yeah,
If we took all those trees out, that garage fits right there in that spot.
okay.
To me, that's what kind of felt it,
Yeah.
felt right. And then what I would like to keep is all that forestry, I guess is what they call it, right? Being that there's just stuff that hasn't been touched in,
Yeah.
who knows, 40 years, 50 years. So we'd want to keep all that and kind of, you don't necessarily want to drive down Sheridan and see our back of our garage, right?
That's not fun.
We want to keep it forestry, and there's a lot of cleanup. There are trees that are down back there, and I assume you saw it. And there's a lot of, I think there's 11 dead trees that are just, they could have been there 20 years, and
The last couple of very wet springs have been devastating to the oak trees in Lake Bluff and Lake Forest.
Yeah.
All of the dampness damages the trees, and then the dry summers allow the two-striped chestnut borer bug to invade the trees. And since I'm battling that on my property, feel like I'm the last person at Lake Bluff trying to save the trees from all getting that rot.
Yeah.
And all dying.
Well, interesting enough, 3 days before we closed, a tree went down on, kind of took out a little bit of the roof, but just being that it's, so we're learning that, gotta take care of your property and, I don't want any more dead trees hitting the house. So I actually, spoke with Andrew, your arborist in Lake Bluff, and spoke to him about getting these dead trees out. I literally just got the call this morning that I got the permit to get rid of those dead trees and clean up the yard. And, I just, once you get in there, then you kind of see, there's a couple, that one big tree right in front of the house, he said that it's rotting. It's only about maybe 30, 40 feet up. I didn't even notice it, but I'm not an arborist, so I guess I wouldn't. But he said, you may need to think about taking that one down because it's about 36 inches diameter, and it's already rotted. And then when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it is. I guess I don't look up as much as an arborist would, but yeah, I think that's job number one is to clean up the dead trees and clean up the property and start working on grading and what we should do to, with the civil engineer to
Now,
remediate the water issues.
Why is there a water drainage issue? Your property falls off by 6 or 7 feet from the high point to the low feet.
Yeah, so from Sheridan to down Oak Terrace, like from the Sheridan height to Oak Terrace, the neighbor next door, I think she lost a car. She threw like 20 grand into her, water issues that she's getting, and it's basically our backyard, and it just goes right into her backyard and goes into her garage. I spoke with Mr. Croak, early on, and I think the neighbor to the west as well has a pool sometimes, because it's just basically all the water's just going to the north side of our property and sitting on our neighbors or the backyard of our west neighbor. So, I want to be a good neighbor, and I don't want water going into our house, so yeah, I just want to find a way to get it to the street or give it, because I think the ravine picks up about 200 feet north of down Oak Terrace to the east, and basically I just want to get it to the street and let it be on its merry way.
So you're gonna be able to find a way to shunt that water into the street so it flows down the street?
Yeah.
Is there any storm system that comes up to you?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
It's a bunch of shovels and me.
Yeah,
and
well, I mean,
PVC and just get it to the street and,
Lake Bluff is going crazy trying to figure out its drainage problems at the moment. It's an area that's just crisscrossed with ravines, and it's such a surprise that we have all of the drainage problems.
well, I'm here to help,
Yeah,
at least in my little spot. And, help my neighbors too. And, it's the right thing to do.
all right.
So,
Anybody have any other questions?
I have a clarification to ask. So this is the initial review, right? They go to us, but then they still have to go to the planning commission. So our job today
Do they
is-
go to plan?
So as long as they can meet all of the required setbacks and everything like that, they
Okay.
don't have to go to.
So for adding a standalone garage?
If they
don't
can
have to?
meet all the setbacks and all the zoning requirements, then they would just go through the permit process, only if they need a
Would they
variation.
submit the specific building plans to the
For the building
building
permit,
permit? Yeah,
correct.
Okay. Got it.
I had just one question. I'm just curious, is there a basement?
No, it's on a slab. That's a issue that, we kind of don't want stairs, first of all. So kind of, to give it to Mr. and Mrs. Kirsch, kind of would defeat the purpose for them not to use stairs so much anymore. So, but it comes with its issues of just a slab. There's actually no cracking. It's held up really well, amazingly well. I'm kind of surprised with all this water I tell you about. It just looks like it's went around the house to our neighbors. It didn't really go through the underneath.
Maybe that's a benefit, right?
It really was. And when when you took out the cabinets and stuff, because they were all wet, you have your plumbing and it's a hole, basically. They didn't concrete it up. It's just dirt right there. It was dry and pretty clean. It looks like it was untouched. So that was one of the good things about
Okay.
the house. It's held up pretty well.
Are you gonna be able to blow any waterproof insulation down in there?
Yeah, whatever. I've talked to my concrete guy as well as insulation guy, but yeah, I want to do everything I can to I want this place to be so dry because it's been so wet for so long. The days that I was there, it's never seemed to dry out, but now it has, so I want to keep it that way.
Well, the houses won't dry out in the summertime because of the overstory.
Right.
So my house is always, my roof is always damp in the summertime, just because it doesn't get any sunlight, doesn't
Right,
any of it
right.
dry
It's
out.
like a little.
If you've lost 11 oak trees, you may suddenly have a lot more drying effect going on,
Right, like a little rainforest under the canopy,
so.
And there are a couple cottonwoods that I don't know if they're a problem or not, but they're so big, I don't know and they're ones really close to the house. I just haven't went any further with it because you know, when you look at how much we have to do already on the trees, I think I'm just gonna do that first, the dead ones, and clean up and everything, and then see if I got any money left and then move on. But I think cottonwoods aren't a very good tree to have, or I guess they're not frowned upon, but it's a tree, but they're just not the,
They're messy in the springtime.
Correct,
When you get all
yes.
the cotton, but other than that, I love cottonwoods because the summer, it doesn't take much of a breeze and the leaves go
Yeah,
like this.
they're
and
like
you get
golden.
this- You get the
We have
silver
an
green
argument
effect, and
Yeah.
it's
trees.
the beautiful sound of the, I think they're gorgeous trees.
Yeah, they sound very pretty.
They
I'm a
do.
little scared of all the trees, you know? Just because, you know, I'm in a house underneath it, but it's pretty, yeah, it's very solid house, roof now, so.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Jeff, you have any comments? So,
No, I mean, it's, everything seems positive, and we're not ripping down the structure, so.
we're so pleased that the house is not coming down, so.
And wasn't the previous owner an architect? I think, if I'm not mistaken, so I met the neighbor across the street and she was friends with her. I don't know, maybe she dabbled in it, but she's looking forward to seeing it done too, to bring it back to its glory,
Yes,
I guess.
Carol, the woman who lived there that I knew, that I went to school with, was an architect. And her, at one point, her husband was an editor at Architectural Digest.
Oh,
So
I better get on my game then. Now I'm nervous.
sharpen your pencil up.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So we have several choices of what we can do here this evening. Right? And our choices are, we can end the review process and send them on their way, or we can do a further review and ask for 30 days to have them come back while we do some more research on the house. And then there's a third part, it's, the rules of that escape me at the moment here.
I'd be willing to throw in a fourth, get a case of wine, and we'll just figure this out tonight.
That would be very nice. We could certainly do that. We can, so we can move to continue to allow the delay period to elapse without any further consideration, or we can continue it to do a further review at the next regular meeting of the commission.
We can terminate tonight.
Or we can terminate tonight. So if you look on your sheet here, we have a green, yellow, and red selections here. And so I'm wondering, what's our general consensus at this point?
I would move that we terminate the review.
I would also,
I
I
would
would
agree.
second.
I would agree.
So we're all pretty happy that the house is gonna stay.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
We think that the garage is gonna be okay. We'd like to see, being the nosy people we are, we have some recommendations for what we'd like to see, but that's not necessarily anything we enforce. So you have made a motion to terminate.
I will move.
I will second.
You second it, okay. And I think we need a roll call vote on this.
Yep. All right, Member Church,
Aye.
Member McGuire,
Aye.
Member Minor,
Aye.
and Chair Bergman.
Aye.
All right,
Okay.
passes.
So we are recommending that we terminate the review and send you merrily on your way off to building code land and whatnot. And we wish you well, and we appreciate the fact that the house is gonna remain, and look forward to seeing what it's gonna look like in 6
Thank
months
you,
or so.
thank you very much. Would it be appropriate to shake your hands, or just
Sure,
thank
you
you?
can say yeah,
Sure,
but that's fine, so.
We're really excited about that.
Thank you for investing in Lake Bluff. We
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know?
so
Yeah.
All right, very
Really
good, yes.
appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you
good.
so much.
Thanks for being
I,
our new neighbors.
So I read the application that you put in for 420 Washington in Lake Forest, because it was online, and that looks like an equally interesting project also, so,
Stop by.
Challenging, yes,
okay.
to say the least.
That home hasn't been lived in over 35 years?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Really?
Was that, did that start out as a house, or did that start out as an outbuilding for that property that's there?
I
Yeah, so originally, so Charlie lived in our house, Ailing lived in the house next door, which is a stone house. It used to be exactly like our house, mirrored. It burned down, so he built that stone one. His parents, Ailing's parents, what's called Brownsville back then, built 6 homes, and they're kind of, you know, in this big circle. And then you can still kind of see that they are like our house, you know. And one was torn down, but and then that one burned, but otherwise there's 4 still there. And they were kind of like lake houses for people to come for the summer.
They're little summer houses, right?
Yeah, Mr. Armour, you know, the gentleman for, you know, Armour Hammer or whatever, he stayed there. Morton Salt lived in the house, you know, every summer, and they did this for like 10, 15 years. And
It was a part of a very old part of Lake Forest.
yeah,
Where you lived on Lake Shore Drive and you came to Lake Forest for the summer. And mom and the kids would come for the entire summer and dad would commute back and forth on the train. So it was a very old,
I would assume it took a lot longer to do the commutes like it is today. Well,
Yeah, me
I should
too.
say that.
I'm gonna do that
It's
too.
largely to work now because of the expressway closures.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's neat.
okay, very, so neat, so very fun. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. So, this is neat. It's nice reviewing, nice to do a review, and we don't end up losing a house. I think
This is
that's great.
fabulous.
So,
It's up to you.
You're welcome to.
You're welcome to leave.
thank you. You can stay or go. That's fine. Thank you. Okay.
Have a good night.
Thanks a lot.
So, commissioner report. Is that me?
It's anyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Spain was beautiful. I can talk about that forever. I don't have much to talk about beyond that, other than I'm going to try and get refocused on finding people, talking to people in town about landmarking their houses. And so, if you know anybody who has a very nice house that is more than 50 years old and is architecturally interesting and significant, we might landmark it. Yours house is landmarked?
Yeah, I would suggest you go behind, the Clarks behind me that have the garage. They put the addition on the top of the garage. You approved?
They, I believe, are landmarked.
They're landmarked.
Yes.
And so the garage looks perfect. It's, all the architectural details.
The Tomlinson house.
Yeah, you know, so
wrote
you
the
have it,
book about
and
her
there's, yeah, I
property.
mean, it looks really, really good. I mean, it really does. They're about, I'd say they're 95% done.
Yeah, I was walking by when they were framing that. That looks
Yeah,
very sharp.
it looks really good, so, yeah, very
And,
positive.
and we have 2 other homeowners on our board here who have very cool houses. It'd be fun to landmark those.
It would be.
Yeah, I'd be happy
I
to.
used your house for one of my weekly assignments in one of my classes.
Well, there you go. Thank you.
So it's now famous in Boston.
Awesome.
So that's all I have. What do you have to report? Do you have anything interesting for
I
us?
don't have much, just that we're still going through our comprehensive land use plan update from the zoning side of things, but housing and kind of diversity of housing is one of the major topics of that. So we have presentations from recent meetings on our website. We have our lakebluffplan.org website that follows that process. If you're interested, there's surveys and other ways to stay involved. There's a comment map where you can put a comment on anywhere in Lake Bluff and say, you know, something that is you're happy with about that and want to continue, or something that maybe this is a point for improvement, things like that. So,
Okay,
yeah.
well, good. I've been meaning to get involved in commenting with that, but I've been preoccupied. So I should look at that. And if you guys have comments about Lake Bluff future planning and whatnot.
And you
I'd be-
can sign up for a newsletter too, or
Yeah.
Yeah,
did
yeah,
that the other day.
I've looked at it, too.
What happened with Harrison House? Like, I remember last year they were gonna do that demolition, but,
Oh,
And I
I
haven't
think
heard
they've
anything
already
more.
taken that down.
so it's all done.
This is the whole Stonebridge thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's down.
Where are the monument pieces for that?
That's a good question. I know some, kind of pieces from the house are in storage, and some possibly went to the history museum, but I would have to double check on that.
I knew the museum was anticipating getting things. I don't know if they've arrived yet, so.
Okay.
But what's happened to the ownership of the property? And that's what I was wondering, if Peter Kite still owned the
As
property.
far as I know, it has not been bought by any new entity.
But it's for sale?
At one point it was, I think it was taken off the market. I'm not sure if it's actually listed for sale or what the actual, status is at this time.
I keep hoping, with all of the mega millions that seem to be sloshing around in high-tech land and stuff, somebody would come and say, I'll put another estate house on it, and then put it back, put a great big beautiful chateau on the thing.
Nice, wouldn't it?
With that, do we have any more comments, any more ideas?
I did talk to the Aherns real quick, and they're putting their house up right now. You know, remember how you had to go through that gate? You can't really see, but you can see that they're building the house back there. But the one on the Aldridge's on Forest Cove, they've had some issues or something that slowed them down, so they knocked the house down, and they're shoring up that ravine behind, but they haven't done
They
much
have a
work
lot
there.
of, they have a lot of ravine work to do
Yeah,
in there.
but
That's a monument to spending money, so, okay. Well, good. Well, I think we're going to terminate the meeting here. We have a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Okay, all in favor? All right, we are adjourned. So,
Great. Well, we ended before your, 8